Hello and welcome everyone back to our clone army. First things first, today we're going to be researching some ships from the Star Wars universe per everyone's request. We're really just shooting for the LAAT ships because these were kind of like the troop transport ships from the Clone Wars, and that's basically exactly what we need to be able to drop our entire army off at the doorstep of Void before slaughtering them. So of course we wasted no time and immediately began working on researching this technology. In the meantime, however, we're going to use our current ships on a raid against the UNSC. Not really for any particular reason, other than to establish dominance and maybe take a few resources, whatever they have. They do have quite a few outposts nearby to us, so destroying these outposts will actually prevent them from frequently raiding us. It didn't take us very long to arrive in our ships just on the outskirts of their base, and as we flew over, we could see their troops, all gathered in mass. Whatever type of union or absorption that the UNSC had with the Brotherhood of Steel and the Space Marines and whatnot was extremely apparent. You could see the stark clash of color and the differences in their armors and just basically how they looked. It was so beautiful seeing that they were all living in harmony. Real shame we have to kill them. Oh well, maybe we'll take some of them as prisoners and recruit them. Probably not though. We moved in on the base as swift as eagle talons and just as sharp or something. And anyway, we began shooting all of them, destroying their turrets, and you know how it goes. They put up a fairly fierce fight, but after we had killed so many of them, they decided to cut their losses, tuck tail, and try to run. It was at this time we began exploring the wreckage from the base, looking for resources. We found a good bit of advanced components and plasteel as well as weaponry. The plasteel was nice, the advanced components were, we really needed uranium, but that was okay. After collecting all of these resources and loading them up into our Albatross as well as the other ships, we headed back home. And of course, after returning, we used some of the resources that we had collected to begin working on more fusion and nuclear warheads to fight Void. Because naturally, throughout this series, that is basically our main goal now. You know, when we're not fighting Void though, we like to sit around in the kitchen, cut up some dead meaty robots, and watch a little bit of television. Oh look, it's even my favorite show. You already know, baby, it's sponsorship time. Thank you to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring today's video. Oh wow, now these seem like some quality products and services. Look, I'm going to be real with you, I use Surfshark VPN to protect my data. Being out here in the rim of the universe, there are several galactic factions who are always trying to steal my grand ideas. I mean, God forbid they wind it up in the hands of Void. Look, their amazing VPN keeps me secure while I'm on some sketchy outer planet Wi-Fi. It's kinda like a secure Stargate between devices and the internet. Truly amazing. It also allows you to change your location, so while you're browsing, say, Netflix, you can access different shows and movies not available in your home country, which I must admit is pretty dang amazing. Enter promo code RATNIGHT for an extra 3 months free. The link is in the description down below. Once again, thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to the chaos. Now by this point, the base was coming along quite nicely. We were living in harmony. Void hadn't attacked us in quite a while. None of the infected had showed up at our doorstep needing eradicated. Until it ended up happening. A fair-sized group of Void drop pods had popped in just outside of our base walls, except for one or two little stragglers who made it inside. Those who made it inside were immediately met with hails of blaster fire that killed them, and for whatever reason, those who were outside decided to steal what they could and run away. I know, I thought that was a bit anticlimactic myself, but fear not, my friends, that this was simply the calm before the storm. We immediately had 2 follow-up raids that crashed right into the main section of our base. Thankfully, given what had just happened with the previous raid, the clones were all on heightened alert. So as the Void associates and whatnot burst forth from their transport pods, we immediately began firing at them, killing them quite quickly. Ha! That was incredibly easy, I said to myself in my head. However, I forgot the little detail that some of them tend to come back to life, so as we were taking their bodies out to the body pile, they sprung back to life and began attacking our clones. This wasn't too big of a deal, except for the fact that we have a lot of friendly fire happening, and unfortunately we ended up killing one of our very own clones. Oh, poor kid. Not kid because he was a child, but kid because that was his name. You already know this. Poor bastard. This kind of made me think that the 3 clones that died in last episode didn't get a proper burial either, so I thought maybe we should make a memorial statue and we should bury this clone in the center of our base. And you already know that Napoleon is cooking up some wicked plans to go on a bombing run at a Void base to make them pay for this. Sure, we accidentally killed him, but it was because they attacked us. We brought the Albatross to a nearby Void laboratory, but not only would we use the Albatross, we would also call in backup from back home. This would allow us to hit the laboratory from two separate angles with fusion and nuclear warheads. And so that's exactly what we did. That bombing run looked really badass, I know, and it was really cool and actually very effective at taking down the Void base. However, we were starting to run very low on resources as these bombs were very costly. So we began deconstructing the massive ship at our base for resources. Just as well, I thought the massive landing pad that it was sitting in would be perfect for a massive landing pad for our new up-and-coming ships that we're still researching. And now speaking of these new up-and-coming ships, we're going to need some new resources to actually be able to build them, so we decided to go out and do a bit of trading with some of the Outlander groups. We would end up purchasing some chem fuel from them as well as some cloth because the LAAT ships require quite a bit of cloth. Now the chem fuel is just because I was too lazy to raid anyone for chem fuel for our ships or create any. After returning home, we ended up having 971 cloth and 828 chem fuel. Now that seems like a lot, but it's really not. So we're going to actually create a massive growing zone where we're going to grow plenty of cotton. That way we can have a lot of cloth for these ships. Now I'm not going to lie to you though, I'm not very patient, so in future episodes we may end up just doing more trading and raiding for plenty of cloth, but we'll see how it goes. Even with a massive field like this, I don't know if we're going to have enough cloth right off the bat after a harvest though, because just one of these ships requires 1,650 cloth, which is a shit ton of cloth. I'm thinking our best solution to that is probably going to be orbital trade ships, maybe like a bulk goods one. Until then though, I have also added the mod for EMI shielding. Basically what this is, it's a solar flare shield, and my hope is that this will work against void solar flares. Will it? I have no idea, we'll have to test it. So we immediately began working on researching that as well. While we were researching the solar flare shield, I also began working on some defenses around the base. We actually began working on some automated turrets. Now you're probably asking yourself, Rat Knight, why would you need automated turrets when you have a literal clone army? Well, you see, when we go out on these raids, we normally leave 1 or 2 clones behind to continue researching and things like that, meaning that they're very vulnerable to a strike. Thus, why we need to build some turrets and whatnot to kind of help protect them. And after some time, we had finally finished the EMI shielding, and we decided to go ahead and start working on one to see if it would work against Void. Is it working? I don't know, it kind of looks like it's working, I guess. I'll keep you posted on that when we get another raid from Void. Now we have to address the concern of our dwindling resources. Given our bomb production as well as our upcoming projects with ships and whatnot, our plasteel reserves are extremely low compared to what they were. And this time around, we're not going to be doing any trading to find some. That's right, we are actually going to begin raiding Void specifically for resources. And also because we hate them. It of course didn't take us very long to arrive, just on the outskirts once again of their very large and beautiful laboratory, blah blah blah. Where's the plasteel, damn it? You know, I actually did notice something very strange happening. Now sometimes I'll defog these bases just simply because if I don't, my computer almost shits out a lung because it can't handle what's happening. But this time around, as the bombers kept arriving, it kept defogging and almost despawning some of the walls and whatnot, so this base looks a little odd. But that makes it one hell of a lot easier for us to start dropping bombs on them, because the less plasteel walls they have, the less protection they have. We dropped 1 fusion bomb and a few large nuclear warheads right in the center of the base, and this managed to kill quite a few of the Void associates. The few stragglers that did remain, of course, came at us and tried to attack us, and they were obviously obliterated by our clones. So after murdering all of the Void associates and completely destroying the base, you can see it, look, there's a little card that says it, we of course began to move in, destroy whatever turrets they had left, and start sifting through the rubble to find some of that sweet, sweet plasteel. And of course we had to eradicate the last remaining abominations that Void had created, this stomach monster lady thing. This planet is only big enough for one disgusting, ugly abomination. And his name is Napoleon, baby. Luckily they did have plenty of plasteel here. It wasn't as much as I had anticipated. I don't know if that was caused by the loading bug or if we destroyed it with all our bombs, but we still had some. We gathered up all our troops though and began to make our way back home with all of our newfound resources. Not only did we have plenty of plasteel and whatnot once again finally, but we had some red wine once again. Our clones are a little bit of an alcoholic, but you know what? They done a damn good job out there, so I'm going to let them indulge in their addiction a little. Nothing like cracking open a cold brewski with the boys, who also happen to be clones of you. But they have my respect. That was a damn fine job out there today, boys. A damn fine job. Hey, how's it hanging? Special thanks to our patrons. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you for watching this. I always feel compelled to say that, but a special thanks to our patrons. You guys are absolutely wonderful. And if you guys would like to support me on Patreon, there's actually a link in the channel bio as well as the description of the video. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. I love you ever so much, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.